you a Muslim?
Yeah.
Yeah. You believe that Jesus is a good prophet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is the man of God.
You believe that Jesus said that he is God?
No.
Okay.
Jesus is a prophet, and we have a big honor for him.
Yeah,
Because
the thing is...
the whole chapter in the Quran about Jesus and his mother, the Mary is a whole chapter, and that chapter tells us how great people they were. So we were so humble and we respect him so much.
What about in John chapter 8 where he says, before Abraham was, I am? He claims God's title of I am. And you believe that the Torah is the word of God, right? Doesn't the Quran say the Torah is the word of God?
Well, we cannot consider a partner of God. We say no partner of God.
Right.
God is the only one.
Right, there's only one God. And so in John, he calls himself God's name that God uses in the Torah when he talks to Moses in the burning bush. God tells Moses to tell Pharaoh that I am sent him. And so Jesus calls himself I am, and people thought that he was blaspheming, calling himself God. They picked up stones to try to stone Jesus because he was calling himself God's name. So why would Jesus, if he's a good prophet, not be God if he claims to be God?
This one for you.
Okay, so I will say this about that. It's not some of these sayings are typical. You got to think deeper into it. It's not just the literal I'm God. You know, whenever there's a phrase about I'm God, all this referring to is if you follow him, you can get to God. So at this point on him on earth, if you follow whatever he's telling you, you're going to go to God. So in this case, he's God. If I send you to represent me in Chicago, when you go to Chicago, it's like me in Chicago. Whatever you tell Chicagoans, it's me telling them.
So you're saying that he was calling himself God's name, but he wasn't actually God? Wouldn't that be blasphemy?
Jesus never in the Bible said he's God. He never said that.
Well, it is.
That is so cool. Why do you have that on?
So I can capture the interaction.
Capture, yeah.
So in one of the Gospels, his disciple Thomas kneels before him after he sees his hands pierced, and he says, "My Lord and my God." When Thomas said that to him, Jesus didn't rebuke him and say, "Don't call me God." He affirmed that Thomas had true faith, and so that tells me that Jesus was affirming the statement that he's God.
What about him confirming that he was saying that in my hand is, see what my hand is where the wounds is, and it's where they nailed me.
Right.
So I'm human. That's all he's saying.
Right, he's fully God and fully man.
He's saying he's human.
So at that, what you just said right there, Jesus will not rebuke, because as long as you said, who was it? Thomas, right?
Thomas.
So Thomas said it, and Jesus didn't say nothing because Jesus is delivering message from God to him. So if he calls him God at that point, at the same time Jesus is telling him, pray like this, our Father. He didn't say pray to me, your Father.
Right.
He said our Father. That means that Jesus is telling him, look, there's a Father somewhere that sent me. So if you believe in me, you believe in the God that sent me.
But he's not. There's a distinction between the Father and Jesus because they're two different persons, and so Jesus says to pray to the Father. But at the same time, he was called God by one of his disciples, and he should have said, "No, I'm not God." He should have made that distinction. He should have made that clear. If he's not God, he would have done that, but he didn't, and he affirmed that Thomas had true faith, thus demonstrating that he's God.
You're absolutely right. But the key thing here is. That's why some Christians, why would the Christians call themselves Christians? They are followers of Jesus Christ, right?
Yes.
So whatever Jesus says, if you believe in it, then you believe in him. If you believe in him, then you believe in the God that sent him. So if Jesus is here to tell them, this is how you should pray. Pray to your Lord. I'm here to deliver a message. I'm not here as your God. He never said that in the Bible. Anyway.
He said, I am. He used God's name.
Yes,
he called himself God's name.
Oh, no. He never said he's God. Never in the Bible.
That's God's name, I am. In the Torah, God calls himself I am when he talks to Moses in the burning bush.
Yes.
Brother, reason is everything we are just taking literally here. Because there's so many Muslims in so many Muslim sects, they also taking so much literal stuff, and because of that, they are making some translations of Quran. It's just you can't even believe they are also doing the same, partner of God. Even in Muslims, they are doing the same thing. Because we cannot take literally what God sent us a message. 124,000 prophets came, and they all brought a message to us from one God. This is what we need to recognize first. The only one God is our Creator. Everything is brought a message to us.
Right, God, there's one God, I agree. He's revealed a message to us through the prophets. And God is both unity and diversity together at the same time in being three persons in one essence, one divine essence. And that's what I want to communicate to you, because I believe because I believe you have a false God. Because you're not believing in the true nature of God.
Okay, let me step in real quick just to explain something. Okay, so you remember Jesus Christ said something in the Bible that I'll believe it, and my replacement will come. Have you ever read that?
Can you say that again?
I'm leaving. I'll believe it.
Yes.
And my replacement will come.
He's going to send the helper.
Wait, and my replacement, whoever believes in my replacement, believes in me. John 13:20. You have a Bible here?
I have it on my phone.
Yeah, let's read it.
That have been transmitted from one generation to another.
We have King's Version.
King James Version?
Yeah.
I usually use the English Standard Version. I could use King James.
How stories change across time and geography as each generation
And have you also
adds
heard
its
about
twist to the tale. Please welcome on Audrey.
There is a law-bearers and non-law-bearers. You ever heard that?
Law bearers and non-law bearers?
Yeah, that means that prophets that comes with law and prophets that don't come with law.
I would say that's true to some extent, that there aren't certain laws that God says, hey, this is a law. He doesn't. But at the same time, there are prophets who do speak.
Take the law out. Use both.
Well, God speaks laws through prophets. He also speaks through prophets who don't say these are laws from God, but they say things that should help us understand how to obey God and how to please God. And so in some sense, they're a law because they indicate to us how we should live.
Yes. But my point here is
I've got two stories I'd like to share with
like
you.
Moses, right?
One
Moses,
is about
Jesus,
two goats.
all the prophets that came after Moses, Abraham and so on, they're not like Moses. But in the Bible, God said, I'll raise a prophet like Moses. And Jesus came, and we know Jesus is not the prophet God is talking about. I'll raise a prophet like Moses. Moses is a lawbearer. God gave him specific, like the Ten Commandments. He brought it to us for us to understand how to live. God said, I'll raise a prophet like Moses. Who is that prophet? We don't know. Okay, so we know. I know who that prophet is. But maybe you don't.
Well,
Do you know who that prophet is?
Well, I don't believe it's Muhammad.
No, okay, yeah, there you go. So that's fine.
But you said believe, that's the most important word. I'm a rabbi. We're not talking about our personal faiths. We're just greeting one another. We don't need to convince anyone of anything. That's what we're not here to do.
Well, if you hate people, that's the way you'll think.
I don't hate people.
Well, if you love them, you'll try to convince them of the truth because they don't know. If they don't know the truth, they're going to end up in hell.